What's up, gamers? A huge Road to the Playoffs update in Madden Ultimate Team. What does it all mean? We'll break it down next. What's up, gamers? ZFarls here from MaddenTips.com. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about the Road to the Playoffs content update in Madden Ultimate Team. At first, I was feeling a little overwhelmed by the 700 new players. However, I've now streamed, I've opened some packs and talked with our community, and I feel like I have some good strategies that will help you make sure you know where to start, how to spend your coins, how to keep your badges, and which MVP players to go after. So grab a quick pen and paper and we'll walk you right through. First things first are the players. What I think you should do is head on over to muthead.com with me, and you can sort by program Road to the Playoffs. Now, you can also sort by MVPs later when we talk about those guys, but MVPs are basically just the team captains for Road to the Playoffs. Write that down. MVPs equal team captains. But here we just have the regular Road to the Playoffs players. This is Earl Thomas. He's a reward. We'll talk about how to get him later out of sets. Best defender in the game. We'll talk about his measurables. Generally, though, what you're going to see when you see 700 new players, a lot of them aren't actually new. Some of the elites are new, and I'll talk about those real quick. So you've seen players that have only had gold editions before, like Julius Peppers, Prince Amukamara. Those are players. Jason Hatcher was another guy. They are players that have only had golds and now have elites in Road to the Playoffs. So as you can see, Peppers 6'7", 86 speed, 76 catch, 95 hit power, an upgrade from the BCA version, and possibly somebody you'll want to pull or get on your team. These players can come out of packs, but for the most part, when you see the 700, yes, they will be a little bit different on the front because they'll have the Road to the Playoffs logo, but if we look at Charles Woodson, he's always been 85. Clay Matthews always been about 85. Brian Arakpo always been 85, and same with Mayo. Mayo doesn't get a new elite item, he's out. Hightower gets his item, essentially, in an elite. You get one from each team. But I've checked the Arakpo against the new Arakpo, and his stats are exactly the same. His ratings are exactly the same. His chemistry is a little bit different, but that is the only true difference in players. So don't freak out about the 700 new players. Write that down. Don't freak out about 700 new players in Ultimate Team. Remember, don't just buy a Road to the Playoffs version of a new card without making sure that it's better, because it's definitely going to be more expensive. It'll probably be used in a set is the reason for that, not its on-the-field performance. If you want to try out some of these players, there's something really cool you can do. If you head on over, you can get your packs, or you can go to items. And when you get into items, you'll see that you can try out these two guys until Monday. Now, they're a bit of coin. However, the Charles Woodson has better statistics than the Champ Bailey, who I think is the best. And I've got him in my lineup, as you can see. If you're playing MUT this weekend, those cards go back to 75 overall on Monday. So if you're playing a lot of MUT this weekend, they're must-gets. Now, let's take a look at the new sets. Here are the MVP cards. They are the same as in the Elite section, the team captains, who are 90. All these cards are 93 overall. The Bears is Jay Cutler. Now, there's 3 quarterbacks you can possibly get. None of them have the speed, and there's better quarterbacks that we'll talk about in a little bit, so don't worry about quarterbacks coming out of these. AJ Green, there's 3 receivers. Jordy Nelson, Andre Johnson, AJ Green. Green 6'4". Once again, you can sort with me on Muthead if you want to check out these guys' individual statistics. I've broken them all down. I'm going to rank them here as we go across. But you want to think of these by position, otherwise you're going to be overwhelmed with the amount of them. So there's really only 2 defensive tackles. There's a Kyle Williams and a Nick Fairley. Fairley's much better than the gold version. Kyle Williams more of the heavy run stuffer. But do your research based on position. Use the MUT MVP sort that I showed you on Muthead earlier. This DeMarcus Ware is excellent. However, there's a Dwight Freeney that's going to be a little bit of an overlap with him. So you kind of want to make sure they're different positions, but they kind of play the same role. You really need to make sure they're going to fit a 3-4 or a 4-3 style. Now there's 3 cornerbacks, Joe Hayden being one. He's the slowest of the bunch, but does have the best man coverage. There's Avonte Davis and a Jimmy Smith Ravens. I personally don't need a cornerback version of these. I would still stick with one of the Cromarties over that Hayden for the value. There's 4 safeties. There's 2 free safeties and 2 strong safeties. Major Wright from the Bucks with some good hit power, but overall he's not the selection I would choose. Andre Ellington is one of 2 running backs along with Le'Veon Bell from the Steelers. Ellington is the elusive style back whereas Bell is more of the trucking style back. They both have very good speed though. Here's the Freeney we talked about. He's got 98 moves off the edge to rush the passer and tremendous speed. He, after second glance, is probably the new best pass rusher in the game. He's what you'd think Aldon Smith would be. He's excellent. Now the Eric Berry, his regular version plays very, very nice, so I'm very eager to try out this strong safety version. I think he can bring a lot to the table. Good hip power. We talked a little bit about Devontae Davis. His strength is in his press. He's a little bit shorter, though, and I'm not sure with how I'm currently playing. Not a lot of people are playing man-to-man. I don't think I'm going to go after Devontae Davis with his press. Once again, skip over Tony Romo. Unfortunately, his speed just doesn't lend itself to how most people are playing the game at this current time. Cameron Wake's actually a really nice card. One thing we like about him is it's a little bit more balanced, pretty good acceleration, and good move off the edge, but you'll want to make sure and see if he's the right left end, the correct left end for you if you need that position. Now, we've already kind of gone after the Malcolm Jenkins here, and we'll talk about why. 93 speed, 92 zone, 91 hit power. Enough said. The next four are all offensive linemen. That just doesn't interest us for the cost of them unless we already had a ton of the pieces from packs. Beatles, Beatty, Davis, and Asamoah. Just no thanks for us at this current time. So as we keep going through, we'll keep digging and seeing that there are some excellent players. Now this Demario Davis is fantastic, great speed. When I first scroll through, later you'll see there's a Bobby Wagner, and I thought I'm going to get the Bobby Wagner. But then I looked at the Davis and realized, wow, Davis is better than Bobby Wagner. So I think a lot of people are going to think Bobby Wagner in their head, but just check out the Davis, and I think you'll be able to get him for a better value once the price is settled down. There's the Nick Fairley we talked about. Jordy has better catch in traffic. You know, all three of those guys have a slightly different blend, so depending on what you need. Andre Johnson for strength. This Thomas Davis is basically Derek Brooks. There's also a Football Outsiders Defensive Player of the Year so far. It's DeAndre Levy, who's an absolute beast. So if you can't get Thomas Davis, maybe you can find a Levy. You know, one's probably going to be more rare, the Levy perhaps, but I feel like people might sleep on the Levy and look for the Davis. But if you can't afford the Levante David Elite, who's dropped a ton in price, maybe you can get the... that might be what you can afford. If you can't afford the Thomas Davis, look for the David. Gronk's good, great size, but in good catch in traffic, but doesn't have the speed or the run block you'd expect, in my opinion. Tuck, pretty nice off the edge. You'd have to choose between him and Cameron Wake. Wake's a little speedier, Tuck's a little stronger. This McLeod's actually really good if you can't get the Jenkins, if you have some pieces. I think he's going to have really nice statistics for you. He's got a little less hit power, but he's got a little more speed. Smith, same thing. I'm not going to target him. I'm not going to target an offensive lineman. Not going to target slower Drew Brees, unfortunately. But I want to talk about Robert Griffin. There is a Madden 25 throwback edition of Robert Griffin, who I believe is now the best quarterback in the game. Besides, there's another new 97 luck. So check out the 97 luck and check out the new Robert Griffin on Muthead. I think the new Robert Griffin peaks out. He's finally got deep accuracy, and he has that speed that you'd expect. Bobby Wagner, once again, I'm going Davis over Wagner unless for some reason the prices actually match up, but I think people are going to look for the expensive Bobby Wagner. For the Steelers, you've got Le'Veon Bell, who is that truck style. There's a new DeMarco Murray that's out as well for Football Outsiders, 1 out of 100. He's going to be a little bit better than the Bell, but the Bell might be pretty solid. Johnson, you've got to choose between him and the two other receivers we already talked about, A.J. Green and Jordy Nelson. That depends. Delaney Walker, tremendous run block, up to 88 from 85. Speed is up. He's a rich man's Vernon Davis. 90 catch in traffic, 90 speed. He's nasty. He's like Marcel Reese now. Get him. Everson Griffin, also a very tremendous defensive lineman who's more strength-based than Cameron Wake, but you'll have to choose between the two. Now, as you can see, badges got upgraded a little bit. Here's some of the new sets that you'll see. The Vault. You have this Madden 25 throwback. Good versions of players that were in Madden 25. Now at this stage, elite badges are just too darn valuable to put into these because you don't know what you're going to get out. The contract wheel's new. I really like the idea of that for team no money spent players because I know they've had trouble with contracts. As you can see, anything with the new Road to the Playoffs logo on it, the Premium Ultimates, the flashbacks, those will have some new players in there, and you want to check those out on Muthead. But once again, you're mostly better off probably just buying those guys off the market. Here are the solo challenges. So you have basically the road to the playoffs, the second half of the season. So if you're into grinding solos, you have that ability now to get those done from here. As you can see, every team has 8 more games that you can check out. Once you beat those, you'll be able to actually go after the team MVP challenges, which is where you're going to get the team MVP, of course. So you'll need to collect that in the collection to get a guy. So say you're going after the Bears, Jay Cutler, you need to beat the Bears, road to the playoffs, and then you need to beat the MVP Bears to get that collectible to beat. Another cool style challenge that you'll want to check out is the dual style challenge. This is probably similar to the Peyton Manning Luke Kuechly chemistry challenge. 4 games in each of those, and then 12 different dual styles. So you have long pass, ground pound, speed run, mixtures of those for 12. When you get those, you'll get a collectible, which will then unlock a Marquise Pouncey, which is a 95 with +1 impact block, and then a Ryan Kerrigan, which is 95 with +1 acceleration for your team. So those are pretty good. You're going to come back over into sets once you've beat those and head on over to the Master section. The Road Master, we'll talk about getting that Earl Thomas, but this is the dual style, and that is how you'll get that. Once you beat this, you'll spit out a collectible to use in the Road Master as well. The Earl Thomas finally has the hit power he gets with a 90. He's got the speed, he's got the zone coverage, going to just be an excellent card. You're going to need to play head-to-head seasons and just get some random badges in there. And then, of course, the Roadmaster MVP, you can find those in some of the solo challenges as well. So good luck with that. I'm hoping that I get this item. I mean, it's going to be pretty killer. I'm going to use Malcolm Jenkins in the short term, but he's somebody that I'm focusing on. Right now, elite badges are just going crazy. I've seen them at 50, but then they were 75, and then even just an hour later when I got home, they were 86,000. So I'm selling all my elite badges personally, waiting till the weekend. I pulled 2 elite badges today out of 3 packs, badge pack rewards, so I'm assuming that they're going to be more common. Hopefully, I'm making the right gamble. It's a risk I'm willing to take by selling my elite badges now while the price is high and seeing if they come back down during the weekend. But you definitely need elite badges. You need 2 elite badges to get these MVP guys. So, that could be also why they're going up. So I'm taking a gamble. Now, Steve Smith, we've seen him here. This is the most feared Steve Smith. So don't freak out. Once again, the last thing about Road to the Playoffs is you don't really need any of those players. We've given you great value guys on this channel before that can fill in. We've talked about Brandon Browner before. He didn't improve really at all. He's still got 91 zone coverage, 85 speed. So don't get freaked out by all this content. We're here for you. Leave any questions you have on the channel, guys. If we can get a like, that'd be great too. But leave us your comments. We'll break down more in depth for sure. But for right now, just head on in, have fun with the mode, check out the new solos, see what comes your way. And until the next time, lock up.